Welcome to Writing Westward. My name is West, and today we're talking about one battle after another. Before we get started, I will be spoiling the film if you haven't seen it yet, so if you care about that sort of thing, go watch it first. I definitely recommend it. In one battle after another, Paul Thomas Anderson manages to capture the absurdity of the current climate in a way that's fun and fresh without de-elevating the tension or stakes of the film. And despite this theme of realistic absurdity, the film chooses to focus on the relatively normal and human cast of main characters, primarily a daughter and her father, trying their best to navigate the absurd world they found themselves in. Before I discuss the bombastic world Paul Thomas Anderson has created in one battle after another, I first want to give some overarching thoughts on the movie, as well as some rationale as to why I'm taking this video in the direction I'm taking it. First, a quick review. Odds are, if you're watching this video, you've heard about this movie. This movie is good. Like, really good. The direction and stylization are masterful, the characters are all very nuanced and engaging, and the film expertly balances tension with humor. Now that I've given you my brief, overarching thoughts on the film, I want to talk about the inspiration behind why I'm choosing to focus on the political, surrealist, and satirical aspects of the film in this video. I've seen certain commentators claim that this movie is bad because it's A, stupid and unrealistic, and or B, pushes some nebulous political narrative. As you can probably tell, I don't think either of these claims are accurate, and I'm going to talk about why I think that. But before I do, I should say that there's nothing necessarily wrong with movies that have a political message. Some of my favorite movies delve into political themes, but all the takes I've seen that paint this movie as prominently political or woke or whatever feel like they're, at best, missing the point of the film, or at worst, bad faith criticisms actually motivated by political agendas. The first claim, that this movie is stupid or unrealistic because of its absurdist lean, is straight up asinine in my opinion. First off, the direction, script, acting, character writing, and score are all highly competent, making it feel disingenuous when someone calls this film stupid. Look, I get if this particular style of filmmaking isn't everybody's preference, which is, of course, more than fine, but to deny the obvious intelligence and craftsmanship behind this film because of its strange naming conventions and surrealism feels like a bit much to me, potentially even bordering on bad faith criticism. Speaking of the style, this movie is a political, surrealist action comedy, and probably qualifies as a number of other genres too. It's not stupid if it's intentionally stylized to be surreal. Which brings me to my next personal gripe with this criticism. Surreal and absurd don't inherently mean unrealistic. Yes, the white supremacist cell in this movie, the Christmas Adventurers Club, has a ridiculous name, but also, the most infamous and evil real-world white supremacist group calls their members exalted cyclopses and grand wizards, which is equally, if not more, absurd. In the same vein, I've noticed some people taking issue with surrealist character names like Perfidia Beverly Hills and Colonel Lockjaw, both prominent characters involved in the film's political world-building framework. When the real world's political landscape includes hacker activist furries and the President of the United States making an AI video of himself dumping feces on Americans, these absurdist naming conventions in the movie feel a lot less goofy by comparison. So for these reasons, I don't think the film's surrealist lens, while often used to derive humor within the film, is necessarily stupid or unrealistic. While some claim that this movie is pushing a harmful political agenda, I think those takes miss the point. This film is much more interested in the interpersonal relationships between the titular characters, primarily the relationships between a father and daughter. And this feels reflective of our real world too. While yes, the political backdrop of the movie is absurd, so is the political backdrop of our world, especially currently. That doesn't mean that we stop focusing on our interpersonal relationships though. In some cases, like in the case of the film, that means we focus on the people close to us even more. Yes, This movie is technically political because the setting is political. But aside from the revolutionary backdrop, the film makes no attempt at a strong, politically focused message, one way or the other. No side is painted as perfect. Even the revolutionary protagonists are portrayed as deeply flawed characters with baggage, because every significant character in this film is incredibly nuanced, just like the world the film puts on display. Additionally, the movie spends most of its runtime fleshing out the characters of Bob, Colonel Lockjaw, and Willa, the three, in my opinion, main characters, instead of trying to push some political agenda. Bob and Colonel Lockjaw both have different yet mirrored motivations for finding Willa, and Willa must navigate the dangerous and complex world she's found herself thrust into. This dynamic, and the events that result from this dynamic, are the main focus of the film, not pushing some vague political agenda like the grifters may have you believe. Part of what makes this film so unique is its unique approach to storytelling. Characters have vastly different and nuanced motivations, some of which are informed by the political setting of the film, like in Colonel Lockjaw's case, and other characters are motivated by familial love and responsibility, like Leonardo DiCaprio's Bob. And Willa, his daughter, is largely motivated by something as simple as self-preservation throughout the majority of the film. Even as these characters gallivant, chasing and fleeing throughout the world, the politics of the world serve as little more than the setting and the background. A quick example of this is Colonel Lockjaw leveraging a political raid on immigrants in a sanctuary city as an excuse and pretense to hunt down Bob's daughter Willa, who also happens to be in the city. Even here, the supposed politics of the film in this context is little more than the setting and the pretense and the context, not the film's message. Claiming that this movie is solely pushing a political agenda flattens the nuance and complexity of the main story beats that the film offers. I put a spoiler warning at the beginning of the video just in case, but I've also tried to keep this discussion relatively spoiler-free in case you haven't seen the film yet. If that's the case, don't let these grifters deter you from a good film. You will probably enjoy it if you go see it. In summary, One Battle After Another tells a complex narrative focused on the relationships between a daughter, her father, and the film's antagonist, Colonel Lockjaw. While doing so, Paul Thomas Anderson portrays a vibrant and nuanced political world as the background setting. But that setting isn't the focal point of the film, nor does it degrade the film's quality. I hope you enjoyed this video. Anyway, I'm a YouTuber. You know what I want. Do the things if you feel like it. I'll see you next time.